In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in Black and White emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our world.
Good evening. Good evening and welcome. Welcome to America in Black and White, the show where we do not flinch from truth, where we do not dim the light of the excellence, and where we celebrate with full unapologetic emotions and truth as to. Good evening and welcome to American Black and White, the show where we do not flinch from truth, where we do not dim the light of excellence, and where we celebrate with full unapologetic conviction the men and women who are doing the quiet, powerful, world-changing work of lifting their communities. I'm your host, Charles Zachary King, and tonight as a special night, Season 4, Episode 93 of this program stands as a testament to what happens when purpose meets passion, when vision meets vocation, and when one human being decides that the measures of their life will not be counted in personal accolades, but in lives transformed. That is what America in Black and White has always been about. We have always believed that our stories matter. We have always believed that the full, unfiltered truth of Black life, its struggles, its glories, its resilience, and its relentless forward march deserves a platform, a megaphone, and a legacy. Tonight, we honor that belief once again. The theme of tonight's episode cuts to the very heart of economic justice in this nation. We're talking about vocational rehabilitation, workforce development, and community empowerment. Three pillars that we built, that when built right, do not just change individual lives, they reshape entire communities. We live in a time when the gap between opportunity and the access is still being drawn along lines of race, zip code, and economic circumstance. We live in a time when too many of our brothers and sisters are told, in ways both spoken and unspoken, that their dreams are too big, their barriers are too high, and their chances too slim. But we also live in a time when leaders rise, leaders who refuse to accept that narrative, who walk into the gap and say, "Not on my watch." Tonight, we honor one of such leaders, a man who has spent decades on the front lines of economic transformation, not in boardrooms, but in communities, not chasing headlines, but chasing results. A man driven by the philosophy of those who came before him, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Maya Angelou, and committed to building a future worthy of their sacrifice. And so, ladies and gentlemen, viewers across this nation and around the world, I want you to lean in. I want you to listen closely, because the conversation you're about to witness is not just an interview. It is a masterclass of service, in leadership, and in love for people. Our guest tonight has dedicated his life, his energy, his intellect, and his heart to ensuring that the most underserved among us are not left behind. He is a community champion, a workforce development specialist, a vocational rehab leader, and above all, a man of profound purpose. Join me now in welcoming to America in Black and White the extraordinary Lixon Nelson. We have we've got an issue here, ladies and gentlemen. If you give me a second, I can get Lixon on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to apologize. We are not going to be able to get Lixon on board. We're going to have to let me just carry on with you guys. And what I will tell you is right now we're at a point right now of where we're at a crossroads. And so let me just talk about some things that are happening right now in America. And what I will tell you guys is I don't have to tell a lot of people is that we know that there's an enormous amount of things that are happening. One good thing that's a positive right now at this point is the World Cup is being played. So there are several football teams from across the country that are here. Some of them are facing some backlashes, for political points and things of that nature. But through all of that, in the spirit of competition, it means one thing, and that is for people to do the things that that they really, really want to do and like to do. And so hopefully that turns out to be wonderful. And my congratulations goes out to the team in advance that actually wins the cup on July 19th, because that's the final day. But what I will also tell you is that here in our country, we're facing some real serious uproads and some things that are happening now that is just unprecedented. And in some of those things, from a political perspective, there's lots of things that's causing discourse here in the country. And there are things that we, the people, need to do to try and change this and correct this course, because the course that we're on right now is not a good one. And with that being said, from the political perspective, we're in a place now where racism and racial injustices are just rising and rising and rising, and it's unprecedented. But it's also one of those things that is a topic that I think we should be able to discuss. And I know for a lot of people, truth is not something that they want to hear. But I think it's right now at this time that I think for those, that feel strongly about the course, the direction of this country right now, that if we continue on this course, I mean, it seems already that the country's at a lost cause. And we're a lost cause because we've got folk that are running this country right now that truly, truly, one, I don't think represent the values of each and every individual in this country, but for those that they do represent, I want to say this to them. Being a repressionist, being oppressionist, and thinking that this country is one that's supposed to be built on white supremacy, you guys have another thing coming, because that's not the way this is supposed to be. Yeah, it's a very sensitive topic, and a lot of people definitely will not talk about this, but I think it's one that deserves to be talked about, because we as individuals here in this country have to realize one thing. If we understand what actually took place and how things went in the founding of this country, then I think a lot of folk would actually take back the way they put out this historical story about the founding fathers. Because, you know, there is this time that we know how this country was built. We also know that with people that are here in this country, we also understand where it took place, where people come from, and also who is who. Now, you know, some people are stating that, you know, heritage is everything, and heritage is everything. But with heritage being everything, and we know directly as to the who, what, the where, the when, and the why, and the how, then I think most of us will understand and know that if we know the original people on the face of this earth, if we know who that was and we know who that is, then I think we would have to ask the question, the heritage of all the other people. Where did you come from? How did you do what you do? You see, there's so much going into downplaying people and making people feel less than and wanting to take things away from people that is just so unnecessary. We've got a situation now in this country that now it does not matter what states do, because when a state is supposed to have its rights, then if it's not agreed upon by that minority group, they have an ally that actually changes everything that's evoked in the system that's been put in place. They run to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has overturned everything that's caused chaos and disorder in this country for those that benefit from that at this point. But I don't think that that's going to be a long-term situation. But I'm here to say this. I think until people can learn how to be peaceful, when people can learn what it is to do right by others and to do right by your neighbors, then I think you guys are going to have a long ways to go. Because I can tell you this kind of wrong does not stand and does not last for long. It does not. It does not. But now I will say this. I'm not one of those going to say, I told you so. But I will say this. You guys will know when that tide turns, because it's turning right now. It's turning right now. And, you know, I was always told as a little boy, same thing makes you laugh. It's the same thing that makes you cry. If we got that going on, yeah, that's a problem. That's a good thing, shall I say. But it's a problem for those other folk, you know. Now, my thing is this: all this violence that's happening, I mean, is that really necessary? No, it's not. It's not necessary. But what I think is the thing that really makes it what it's supposed to be is the thing that morally most of us were taught, and that is doing right by others. I just want to say that I think that we've got to do some course corrections here for America, because America and this violence that's been over these last a few hundreds of years, 400 years of all this violence, this has got to stop. This has got to stop. It goes from violence to stealing and to just doing whatever is necessary when it comes to doing things wrong to people, and it's considered to be the right thing. I don't know. I just wish that that we can all do the right thing, how we need to do it, and how we need to make the course correction here for this country, make it be what it's supposed to be, and to help in the standings in the free world. Because America does not have a good standing in the free world right now. And that's based on the people that are running the country. And again, have to ask the question, why are we letting this happen? Why are we letting this happen? This is the worst thing in the world, but it's happening. I just want to say, and just speaking, this little time here, our guest didn't show for tonight, but, I do think that, there are some things that we can do and should do in order to make things better in this country. I want to ask each and every last one of you to please continue to follow this show, because as the stories that you get that come here from this show, they are authentic, they are real, we're not scripted, and we have people that are doing things that's going to motivate and inspire people in all of these underserved and marginalized communities to help build them and make them as best as they can be. I just want to say, I want to thank you guys. For those of you that are here for each and every show, I want to thank you, because that means a lot, not just to the platform, but it also means a lot that when you have your support is always a good thing. And I want to thank you. I also want to make sure that I take the time out to ask you guys to also make sure that that, for the shows that are done for 7 days a week, this show here Monday through Friday, Changing Trends and Times on Saturday, and CK Stories from the Heart on Sunday, that they're all special in their own right, and they're all doing things that are necessary when it comes to building our communities around the country. Because we have to take that time. We have to put time in our communities, because our communities deserve it. Everybody deserves an opportunity. Everybody deserves to be heard. Everybody deserves the opportunity of being the best that they could possibly be, which is why it's always asked and it's always mentioned that entrepreneurship is going to be the best thing in the world, for those that are in underserved and marginalized communities, and for those in Black and Brown communities in particular, because you'll have the opportunity to, one, knowing that the skills and the value that you have, you should know by now, you will be able to do your own thing. And if you're able to build your own company, then you don't need any of the other stuff. You don't. So I want you to know that as you get the opportunity to not only highlight and showcase your work here and for the community here, that will also help to try to get you out there and people to know and put that light on you as bright as possible. So everybody has the opportunity of knowing of who you are, what you do, and why you are so valuable. It's about the value, is what we're about. It's about the moral compass, is what we're about. And I want each and every last one of you to understand that when we talk about that moral compass is the real thing. Because when you can reach out to your fellow man and when you can lend that helping hand, it means a whole lot. You never know if you're saving someone's life or you're causing someone from having a real serious catastrophe. These are the things that I just want to say to each and every individual that's watching, because it means so much to this platform that we get the very best of people to be here. And I want to thank you guys, but I also want to make sure that you remember this before I get off the platform. I want you guys to remember this, that reaching out and stopping all of this negativity, all of this darkness that's transpiring, that's going on around this country. We've got to stop this. We got to stop this because this is out of control now. It's out of control when you've got people that are putting and saying things about the former First Lady, Michelle Obama, where they're talking about President Obama and calling them apes and animals and things of that nature. What is the problem? And you know what I say that problem is? That problem is what they call leadership. And those folk that are in leadership that don't deserve to be in leadership, those that are claiming that things have been stolen and rigged and things of this nature, when it's these people, these folk that are doing the very same thing. Right now, I want all of us to be focused, and I want you to think about this. If we have debt of $36 trillion, but GDP is only $34 trillion. I just want you to think about that and what's the problem, and also how all of this debt has been accumulated. We know how it's been accumulated. We know who's doing what. But yet and still, there is nothing on the checks and balances for what the government is supposed to be about that's causing all these problems that, there's where it's causing all kinds of darkness. All kinds of darkness. And to know that people really support this, that's the scariest thing to me, because if you support that, then that's telling me if you support that there's nothing you won't support. There's nothing, especially when it's dark. There's nothing that you will support. So I say, let's get it together, people. Let's build all these communities like we need to build them. Let's get rid of all this foolishness, all this short-sightedness that's happening, and let's make this be about the best that it can be. Because it's not about making America great again, because there was nothing to the point that anything dulled that light, other than who's leading. That's how you tell the difference. So I want to say in closing, you guys have yourself a wonderful evening, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you guys have a great evening.